Well, the $40 million Heritage Point project at Canal Side is back on track, according to developers. The project broke ground in 2021 and was slow in terms of progress until it stopped altogether last March. But a recent multi-million-dollar boost is allowing work to resume. Here with the developer on the project, Sinatra Company, is CEO Nick Sinatra. Nick, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This is a really important project, and one that obviously it is important to Sinatra, just as it is important to the city and to residents. Let's talk a little bit about how the concept came to be. In 2021, this project was billed as what? What were you guys touting this project as and to include?
Well, the program hasn't changed. It's, first market rate residential downtown, right? To be a catalyst for a canal side development. That was always the goal, and it still is the goal. 57 apartments. Of the 57, 6 are going to be affordable. The rest are going to be market. Be some of the nicest apartments in Western New York. And then we are relocating our headquarters from Market Arcade building down there. So we'll be the anchor tenant, which was always part of our discussions with the state. That was attractive to them because obviously we're committed to it to be our headquarters. And then the first floor is going to be restaurant and retail. Originally, we were going to bring the food hall concept that we had at Market Arcade. We still think that's a fun concept for down there, but we're going to let the market decide. We're talking a lot of great tenants for restaurant retail on the first floor.
Nick, I want to talk a little bit more about your guys' decision to relocate your headquarters there, because I think what you said, it's definitely putting actions behind words, and that's what a lot of people are looking for in this project. I want you to talk a little bit more about that. You guys are in on this. You're in at Canal Side, so much so that you're literally moving your offices. Talk about that commitment you have to the city and to this development.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we're committed to the community. We've been in this community for 15 years, and I think that's one of the most exciting places in Western New York. Canal Side in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years is just going to continue to grow and be exciting. There's a lot happening there. Unfortunately, with the external climate, with the capital markets and everything else, it's slowed, but it's still going to be much more than it is today down at Canal Side, and we're going to be really excited to be part of that.
Let's talk a little bit about that, the pace of work. Things really stalled in March. There were some issues with, of course, inflation, the cost of labor, the cost of materials, but a big part of that is that your lender fell through. Could you walk us through some of that? Because these are hard decisions that you must make, and they
Absolutely.
impact people's lives that are associated with this project and people's lives that are associated with the rest of your company. So talk about where your decisions were in that.
Real estate development takes a lot of capital and a lot of human effort, right? So it's human capital intensive and it's actual dollars intensive, right? And so we ultimately had 3 lenders fall through throughout the course of the arc of this project, right? And we went through a pandemic with 2 work stoppages. We went through the incredible inflationary time that we saw post-pandemic, which saw our costs go from 25 million to 35 million. And then on top of that, we had the interest rates double, and they doubled quicker than at any time in the past 50 years. So that was sort of 3 different hits the project had taken, and it actually mirrored 3 different lenders that had ultimately were with us and decided that they either couldn't perform or didn't want to do the project anymore at that point. So we went to New York State and said, look, this is the situation here. You're our partner in the project. How do we resolve it? And it took a lot longer than we had hoped working with them on this, but the end result was where we are now, which is that they're committed to the project. They're going to take their incentive package, which was $4 million, and they're going to double it to $8 million, and most of it is a loan that we're committed to paying back. And we're getting the project going again in hopefully 3 months. Now,
during that time, it certainly drew the ire of members of the Buffalo Common Council. Mark Poloncarz was coming on it, people from ECDOH, the state, and others, businesses, Explore More. They were upset that this was stalled, but here you are explaining that I don't know if any of this was really within your hands or power to begin with, yeah?
Look, we have $12 million of our money in the project between myself and my capital partners, right? So, the commitment couldn't be any stronger. And I understand the frustration, but there's nobody more frustrated than the person writing the check. And, so we've remained committed to the project. We've dumped a ton more money in than we expected, but ultimately it's going to be successful for the community and for the neighborhood. And when the product's done, everybody is going to love it, and we'll be all excited. Even some of the naysayers that were outside looking in during the roughest points of time during this project. Look, it's not unique to this project, right? The capital markets and some of the inflationary tendencies that we talked about, they're affecting all development projects locally and around the country, right? Developers are saying, geez, I've got 3 or 4 projects that are stalled too, but I'm not in the press. I know they felt bad, but look, this is a public-private partnership. Yep. So that's why I went back to the state when it stalled, because it's not a private development, that has no bounds to it, right? We won this RFP from the state. They have some design standards that they frankly didn't move off of throughout the course of the inflationary bumps and pricing. And so I said, okay, well, look, then let's sit down and work on this solution together. And we did. And once we got to the table with them, they were fantastic, and we were able to get to a solution pretty quickly.
Quickly, because we're out of time. Now that we're back on track, a brief timeline. What are we thinking when shovels will get back into the earth, and when we think of completion?
So, yeah, the project's 40% complete, which is good. It doesn't necessarily look that way, but there's a lot that happened under the ground and then coming up with the steel. So we're hoping to start end of April. And then at that point, the timeline to complete is summer of 2026.
Excellent.
So we feel really good about that. That gives us some wiggle room there in case there's some winter weather next year.
Sure.
Right? Because that right. always slows you down, so you don't really know what kind of weather you're going to get next year. But ultimately, it's in everybody's best interest to deliver the project at the front end of the summer next year, and that's our goal.
Nick Sinatra, thank you so much for being here this afternoon. We appreciate it. It's an important story. We'll keep on it.
Thank you.
All right.